So, getting us into our first news topic, our first big one that really just shook up everything else. We had heard last week that Warner Brothers was going to have a big meeting to kind of just more or less kind of a state of the union, and it was about what we expected. If you liked the current
hmm
administration of Warner Brothers, you really liked the things that you heard. But if you don't like the current administration at Warner Brothers, it kind of reinforced some things that you already kind of believe. So make of that what you will. I don't know about you, Josh, but I've been very pro David Zaslav so far, except
hmm
for their silence on the Ezra Miller situation, which again, good grief! Now Ezra's actually been charged with a felony.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez. But
dude.
we get this meeting, and they kind of give some clarification of the Batgirl canceling. They kind of outline their future plans. Some people got all up in arms about some things, while some other people got up in arms about some other things. I will admit, not everything came across perfect, but I really like what went down with this Warner Brothers Discovery announcement, or not even official announcement, just investor call or whatever. Because yeah, some things sounded rough and sounded tough to hear, but at the same time, it proves, at least to me, that David Zaslav is willing to make the tough decisions to secure the company's future in the long term, because a lot of these decisions are long-term decisions. A lot of people are pissed about Batgirl, or all five people are upset about the Scooby-Doo prequel getting canceled, and they're just like, "Oh, why are you doing that just for a tax write-off?" And we talked about it a little bit last week, but seeing the bigger picture, Discovery inherited $44 billion of debt from AT&T. They have to find ways to get out of that hole. They're already starting massively behind the eight ball in terms of financially speaking. So they have to find ways to make up that loss. That will not be the case forever. They're just trying to, I know some people are they're trying to cut corners. Right now, they financially have to get themselves more or less on even playing field with everyone else. Also, there's a lot of information that was just getting misconstrued of they're cutting the budgets for HBO. They're going to focus more on Discovery content in terms of just reality shows. They never said that at all. If anything, David Zaslav said they're doubling down on HBO scripted content. Um, Also, I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I've been saying this ever since Discovery was in talks to acquire Warner Brothers. They said that eventually next summer they'll be launching a combined app for Warner Brothers Discovery,
There we go.
Warner Brothers and
Nice.
Discovery. I'm just going, I have been saying that forever, and everyone's like, no, they're gonna be two separate apps because they're two distinctly different markets, which they showed the bracket, which I get why people are pissed about that. They're like, well, our analytics show, in the words of someone that I don't watch anymore, well, the chart says that HBO Max has the boy demographic and leans more scripted, and Discovery is the girl demographic and tends to be more unscripted. I get why people would be pissed about that. It does come across a little too cold, numbers, but from a business sense, I get what he's saying. I don't think it was presented in the best fashion. So they're going to get it into one mega app. Josh, before I talk more about that, what did you think about these, this investor call? What did you think about the mega app? How do you think the current state of Warner Bros. Discovery is looking?
I mean, I think at least they're talking about their issues. At least they're taking steps to make long-term changes and get better in the long term. I think you and I have been saying with the merger, it just makes sense to have a combined app. I mean, really, for those who do have HBO Max, it already technically has a lot of companies on it, between Cartoon Network and some of the others, like HBO, and I'm going blank at the moment, but yeah, there's already a bunch of stuff on there. So to me, it really isn't that much of a stretch to just go ahead and combine the apps. I think a lot of people are justifiably irritated and mad about the canceling of Batgirl. To me, you have every right as a fan to be mad about that, and that my only caveat is, as long as everyone involved got paid for everything that was
Absolutely agree.
done,
Yep.
I'm fine with it.
Which,
They can do with that whatever they want with the tax write-up.
quick side tangent. Did you see that the directors of Batgirl, Kevin Feige, actually reached out and gave him a nice little, "Hey, we're thinking of you. Sorry about this," because they apparently worked on Miss Marvel. So Kevin Feige reached out to them and was like,
Oh wow, that's cool.
I'm sorry for you. Like, we're with you." Like, I was like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that, Kevin, but that's super cool."
Yeah, I mean it sucks, and I think thankfully it's for the greater good
The
in some
greater
ways.
good.
Yeah, greater good.
Shut it.
I I want to make sure that I say that I don't think that Discovery came into this and saw a bunch of DC projects and was like, okay, we can cancel that for a tax write-off. We can cancel that for a tax write-off. We can cancel that for like that's not. I don't think that's what they did here. I just think that unfortunately, because of where Batgirl is in the timeline and the test audiences weren't really receiving it well, like it's probably best to not put out another stinker, especially for a, a new basically a new brand. And then also like for the girl that plays Batgirl, if she comes out, if that movie comes out and it's awful, like she might not be able to be Batgirl ever again, which is not something I want to happen. Or seeing Keaton's Batman again would be has the potential to be really cool. So if that ends up being kind of ruined, then yeah, I'm okay with them kind of skipping that there.
Well, also, it seemed very much in this investor call that they have very much a focus on DC, and I think
Yes.
they are, despite the Ezra Miller stuff with the Flash, which kind of contradicts what they're kind of saying of we value the DC brand. This is going to be our bread and butter going forward. This, the Wizarding World, the Game of Thrones are like our top IPs. Cancel the Flash before you ruin that its integrity anymore. I think David Zaslav is and Warner Bros. Discovery is really trying to put their money where their mouth is of, okay, we say we value DC properties. We're going to stop putting out stuff that we only half-heartedly believe in to make money. He even subtly took a shot at the previous administration where he was just like, we're not going to put out a movie before it's ready so we can make a nickel. 2017's Justice League was only released so that executives could get bonuses. I appreciated that. I just find it frustrating when fans, he's saying all this, and he's saying DC going forward will have its own studio. We hope to have a 10-year plan with people in charge. He openly admitted, we're going to borrow Marvel's plan. But people got mad at that, I think, because it represents a change. And granted, I get that DC has quote-unquote, pledged change for years and years and years. But I think this is different because they're openly acknowledging, hey, Marvel has a formula that works. Let's just use that. And also, let's get Alan Horn, who oversaw a lot of those years, and work on it with him. And I think fans are more upset of just like, change is difficult. But as fans, this was the change that we've been asking for close to a decade. Now that we're getting it, we're complaining about it? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
David Zaslav seems to have this renewed interest in DC. DC Studios is going to be its own thing. But most importantly, he said they're going to assemble a team to map out a 10-year roadmap for DC films. I'm just going, a roadmap? What's that? I don't know what that is. Well, I'm a DC fan. I don't know what a roadmap is. I'm so used to what used to be for Marvel, what used to be a roadmap, until leading up to Endgame. And you could tell me they have a roadmap now, but a roadmap with many different roads that I don't know if they converge. I think this is a great idea. Now, I think it'll be curious to see who will be on that, that like counts Jedi Council, so to speak.
The Jedi Council.
Who will be on this DC brand? I think Alan Horn will be involved to some degree, obviously, because he's brought in as a consultant. The first name I think that's on this list, James Gunn, has to be.
Oh yeah,
because he more or less let it slip. It seems like he's working on a Bloodsport series or project with Idris Elba. Awesome. Yeah, his stuff hasn't done financially well in DC. At least with the Suicide Squad, but Peacemaker was one of the most watched shows they've ever done. I think it's safe to say that he'll still be there. I don't think we can rule out J.J. Abrams. I wouldn't be surprised if David Zaslav gives him an ultimatum of, okay, you keep hogging all of these projects that the previous administration gave you this contract with. you can have first dibs on being in this circle, but you can't have everything. You can be involved in the planning process with things, but you cannot hog everything. We are inviting you to the table because you got grandfathered in, but you can't be the one to sit at the head of the table. That's Roman Reigns' position. So where do you think the roadmap is for the 10 years for DC? Who can you see in charge? And do you see this? Do you actually believe DC this time around? Because they've said they had a plan in the past.
Well, yeah, but that was that was Warner and the past administration saying that. And, you can say that you can believe just about everything that they say. It's just about as much as they as Sony says that they treat Spider-Man villains with respect. Anyway, I think it's about time. It really is. Like, it makes the most sense. As much as you want to, you can totally use the roadmap and like use the way that Marvel plans out their series. Totally do that, but still put out a different superhero product than Marvel. It's not that hard. To me anyway, because they do the same shtick every single movie, no matter their heroes, which is why it gets old real quick. But at the same time, I think because Zaslav did say like they want to build around their tent poles, the big three: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, which is like absolutely. And Zach can say what he wants, but he never really did that. He more built everything around Batman, and then like killed Superman before we got to use him, and then Wonder Woman's not really involved. So it's like
Snyder very much
your 10-year.
Snyder didn't want to build a universe. He wanted a Lord of the Rings trilogy, which cool. If you had a specific story that you wanted to tell, awesome. But I think Zack Snyder and a studio at the time were not on the same page in terms of what they wanted out of the relationship. Like, Warner Brothers wanted marriage. Zack Snyder wanted to hit it and quit it. Like, for lack of a better term, I think Warner Bros. Wanted a longer commitment, where Zack's like, I have a vision. This is what I want. And Warner Bros. Is going, oh, balls. This is not going well. I'm again reaffirmed ever since that very first interview that David Zaslav had of what's your top priority? Oh, we have these great IPs like Superman and all these other things that he listed right when he took the job. Clearly, Superman is a top priority for David Zaslav and DC, and I have said for years, get Superman right, and the rest of your universe will follow. I think that was a big problem with people not connecting with the Snyderverse. I like Man of Steel, but a lot of people had a disconnect because it was not the Superman that they're familiar with. I get that Snyder was eventually building to it, but by that point, you're kind of behind the 8 ball, so to speak, of like, if your story ends with Superman becoming the Superman you know and love, you're missing out on a lot of stories that people are kind of expecting.
Now, especially if you're not going to make a Superman 2.
Well, I think Zack Snyder was going to do Man of Steel 2, but then someone in the room said, what if he fights Batman? And then once you say it, you can't unsay it, type of thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, so far, everything we've talked about was announced at the investors call, like, officially announced things. The speculated thing, there's some sources saying this, but I don't know if I fully believe it because it's a very hit or miss source. But supposedly, Warner Bros. Discovery has reached out to Henry Cavill to bring him back, but he's turned it down. To which I immediately raised question marks about that from this source, because I'm just like, Henry Cavill has been so vocal more than anybody else about wanting to return. So I don't think he would shoot it down that quickly. I think there might be negotiations. I'm curious about the future of the Trinity of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, because we have a Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot. Does she stay on? I'd be fine if she stays. I'd be fine if she goes. I'm indifferent. You just started a Batman franchise, a pretty successful one with Robert Pattinson, but that's pretty self-contained. Do you find a way to bring in Pattinson as your main Batman? I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're hoping for. In which case, is Henry Cavill your Superman? Do you recast? I think we need clarification. I think that'll come in time. I'm not willing to bet Henry Cavill's out of this yet. I think it's a matter of what kind of Superman are they putting forward. I think he will be back at some point. Also, people, if you see these reports out there that Henry Cavill has been cast as Mr. Fantastic, don't go down that rabbit hole. That's not coming from an actual source. But also, he has completely the wrong build. Like,
Yeah, that's like doesn't work at
I know
all.
some people are just like, well, Henry Cavill's not coming back because he's holding out for the James Bond spot. I'm like, I think
I
Henry,
doubt that
I think Henry
heavily.
Cavill really wants to be Superman. So I think it's a matter of like meeting somewhere in the middle financially. But if he leaves, I'm not gonna be surprised. I think it's more or less just like, just pick what you're gonna do with Superman at this point. Either keep Cavill or officially announce that you're rebooting it. Let the fans get their anger and vitriol out. Like the 2015 Royal
Yeah.
Rumble for you wrestling fans out there. Eliminate Daniel Bryan in the middle, and hopefully people will get their anger out. That didn't work, but maybe it'll work here. I think people are frustrated with Henry Cavill's Superman situation more so of just it's in constant limbo ever since 2017's Justice League of like, is he gone? Is he still here? I think if there's definitive answers either way, people could get more on board. Looking at just the Trinity, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, where's it going, Josh?
I as much as I'm really hesitant because it depends on like whether or not you keep Pattinson. Because if you don't, then what? You bring in Batfleck and or you recast Batman for what, a third time in 5 years? Uh, mm, I don't know about that. But then also, if you keep Battinson, I feel like you have to recast Wonder Woman and Superman to kind of fit the mold a little bit. So
Yeah, do you
I
do
don't know.
do you do a complete reset or pick and choose pieces?
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be interesting, and at the very least, I know we can trust Zaslav with the hard decisions, but like it's gonna be nothing but hard decisions from this point on.